All right, so I'm gonna have a good friend on here, Jeff Pedersen, who is a host for the Matrix Groove Show. And he, if you guys don't know about the Matrix Groove Show, it's everything involving Q really, and the Q movement, QAnon. So he's gonna explain a lot to us today about what Q is, how he follows the drops, how he deciphers it, how he codes it. He's very knowledgeable on this. And the last Q expert I had on here, so-called expert, was Austin Steinberg, and I got a lot of slack for that. So I'm hopefully making up for it with this one. And great guy, great guy. He helped me out a lot. He also promoted Out of Shadows, so he knows Mike Smith, Liz Crokin, and Brad Martin real well. The guys that directed the documentary Out of Shadows. So I'm gonna bring him on. I think he just requested me. Hey guys, yeah, heck yeah, this is gonna be a good live. This is gonna be a good live. This guy's very knowledgeable. This guy's very, very knowledgeable. So let's see if I can get him on here. Oh, here he is. Sometimes people don't figure this out.
Is up, El
There
Nino.
you are. You got all the green matrix going on.
Well, you got to, this is it. I don't have the lighting like you do. I see you got some really nice lighting.
No, I got a picture of some, I don't know what the hell. It's a Santa Fe thing.
Hey, everybody. Peace, man. This is In the Matrix, Jeffrey Pedersen. Haven't shown my face a lot. So, you're in for a treat.
Yeah. I mean, nobody really knows who you are behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's right. Behind the curtain, the guy. So I was an anon, right? So, hey, everybody, how you doing? How you guys doing? I'm now on Instagram, too, by the way. You and Liz are like, you got to get on Instagram. I'm like, what's an Instagram? But here I am,
Dude,
guys.
you have to do it, man. You got a huge following on Twitter. What's your following on Twitter? Is it like
193,000, give or take?
193,000? I mean, you're huge everywhere else. You got to get on this platform now. And I really strongly suggest everyone follow him. A good friend of mine. You were one of the first people that gave me an interview after that, the pedo.
Your viral video.
Viral video, yeah. So I appreciate that. And you really, you also had me on with Mike Smith, and that was really cool. And I became friends with Mike Smith.
Yep.
And can you hear me all right? Because some people, let me just see from everybody. Can everybody hear me?
I got you 5-5. Hi, ARG, babe. How we doing? I deleted my Facebook. I don't have a Twitter. Hey, Jersey Steve. Can you guys hear us? Are we 5-5?
All right. I guess we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So we're ready to go. All right. Let's roll. All right, Jeff, I was really impressed with how much you knew about Q and how well you decipher and I guess what's the right word, decode the drops.
Yeah, pretty much. We learn the comms, and it's not just me. It's a bunch of brilliant anons too.
Okay.
So my Q story starts just looking at 4chan and then noticing this Q thing and going over to 8chan, going, wow, this is interesting. But I really didn't get into Q per se till maybe November, midway through to November, and I was on 8chan lurking because
last year
of 17. November.
17, okay.
So Q started dropping October 27th, 28th was his first post, their first post. Because Q, let's get this straight. Q is people that we don't know who they are. And it's 10 people, 3 non-military, according to Q drops. We've noticed, a year ago, 2,500 devices were used. So they use burner phones, the Q team. We've noticed that the Q team is posted from more than one location as well. So, the Anons are on top of it. And now it's 8kun, which is, but you're best off, if you're not a Chan person, there's a lot of trolls on that board. So you're going to see a lot of things that you may not want to see because, not only are the white hats there, there are a lot of black hats there as well. And
so
Q
right now,
yep.
Jeff, I guess we could say that Q is being infiltrated or Q is being, there's a lot of disinformation coming out about Q right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
yeah, it's infiltration.
And I called you the minute that that people started reaching out to me saying they were Q.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Yeah, and you told me beware. They don't reach outside the message boards
I
because
may
I
or may
had
not
what,
have
like,
heard a phone call or two.
yeah, yeah, and you told me don't, you know, but I mean, it was so realistic. I mean, it's
Mhm.
unbelievable. I probably would have fell for it if it wasn't for you.
Oh well, you know, and look, let me just address the Austin Steinbart situation. If you know, I really didn't want to. It doesn't
Well, I
matter.
wasn't speaking. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about the first one.
But the
Remember?
first one, and that could have been a lead up. Who knows? We don't know. But if you believe that Austin Steinbart is cute, that is your discernment and that is your right. I pray for Austin Steinbart. I actually feel sorry for him. And I pray that he's going to be okay because I think that he actually does believe what he believes. And I don't want to fight over he's Q or not, you know, because to me, it's irrelevant. It's the information. And, you know, and so I'm not here to fight over who's Q, what's Q. I mean, I was attacked majorly when I said the Paysur word. My account was queued 15 times, and I can count the Matrix post on my birthday when I was anonymous, which I count as one. That would be 16. And then thank you for the Red Castle, Green Castle decode anons. That was me. And I was a Zero Delta. I was on the top 200 list for Hillary Clinton. She tweeted an article about Russian bots. You can see that I'm totally not Russian because I'm covering my accent. And so I'm not Russian. I'm a U.S. citizen. And when I said the word Paysur is when it really the attacks happened. Q Post 1970, somebody that I know probably didn't understand or didn't believe that it was Paysur. And he said, hey, Q, does P equal Paysur? You know, when do we start getting to see the pain? Where we go, when we go all? Q reposted that post. There are many big accounts that didn't even cover that post, which I thought was very interesting because
So
it's
you're basically saying Q has been watching.
possibly. I mean, you know, I think he watches all of us. And I think that the top 200 list that Hillary Clinton has is not just me. It's you. I mean, it goes on for more than 200.
Right.
You
Thanks.
see.
Thanks for making me feel better.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're on Hillary Clinton's list too, David. I tell you what, you know, Bill Clinton loves you. Aren't you in San Antonio? Yeah, so you know, we got that. You know, Q said on those 200 lists, there's Anthem Respect is a really good account to follow, and also Run the Race was on that account as well, to run the race, and okay. I was as well, and a bunch of beautiful MAGA patriots, and that's all we are. We're Donald Trump supporters. We're not a far right-wing conspiracy theory that believes everything, you know, but, you know, we can prove it by fact. So what they want to do is they want to do the wrap-up smear on the name QAnon, like they did with Kavanaugh, right? Remember the lies that they told about Kavanaugh? Nancy Pelosi said it best. What we do is you guys lie about a report, you merchandise it, and we use it to kill our, you know, to stop our enemies, right? And that's what they did to Kavanaugh. That's what they do to POTUS. That's what they do to Barr. That's what they do to the word QAnon. That's what they did to me. They said that, you know, they found a picture of me that had red shoes on in 2016. I had no idea what red shoes were in 2016, but apparently I am now bad. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Isn't that a sign of that's pedophilia, right?
That's, yes, the red shoes.
So when you wear the red shoes, like the Pope has worn them.
Right, made out of baby skin. Yeah, right. So, you know,
yeah,
the ones that are made out of baby skin are probably the ones that are the pedophile ones. However, red shoes also means nobility. You know, it's French king stuff. And it's important that we understand the French because that's who basically took over the United States of America. And that's where the trust is. And so we got a lot. So if you want to back up, we can back up.
Well, I want to go back to, okay, let's talk about, for everybody who's on here who's kind of new to all this,
it's human.
Where did Q start?
So Q started on 4chan, late October with a post about Hillary Clinton on 11/3 being arrested and Podesta and all that. So that was the first post. And I think that that is like that's what the Q team put into Project Looking Glass as what they wanted to be the final outcome. And as we keep going through what we're going through, this great awakening, you guys are all going through a great awakening right now, every single one of you. Whether you follow Q or not, even the Democrats are going, I gave them an inch, now they want to take a mile. What's going on with my party? People are noticing this, okay? And so what we're noticing is that this is probably what they want as the final outcome, right? And getting Hillary would be a lot of other people arrested. And so that as we get closer to that target, the probabilities change. And that's why the Democrats right now and the rhinos, let's make sure that this is not just the Democrats. This is the rhinos. This is a case, right? Rhino. So these people are trying to delay. They're holding up Flynn case. I mean, there's not even a case or a prosecutor even prosecuting that case. It should be let go right now. You've got, all these different things happening that are just delaying. Oh, let's look at
because that's their last move.
That's all they got. And remember,
all they got is to mess up this election so they can put Pelosi in, correct? Have an undeciding winner to where they can delay it, and then Pelosi steps in. Am I correct in saying
that? That could be. That's a theory. I don't know, but future will prove past. Now, I know that there's a batter in the batter's box. Biden probably won't be the one, according to Q posts. So, but right now it is Biden, and so basically,
so wait,
the final goal is
because you're fast. You're real fast. Hold on.
Fast.
So for everybody that's listening, so you're saying that Biden most likely is just the stand-in.
Yeah. So right now he's the firewall. If you really want to understand what's happening, what most people haven't realized yet, but we will, because I think we were all mind controlled, even people that are red pilled, not to look at China, right? Russia, look here, not there. So I've recently found that they're trying to protect all of the assets and American secrets that they've sold to Russia and China, mostly China. And I've got so much proof to show that China is basically the new, they moved their headquarters from here to there. Okay. The Illuminati, like your Illuminati shirt, right? Or the New World Order, or whatever you want to call them. Okay. They call themselves bloodline families. Okay. They call them the families. So that's kind of what I think happened. But maybe China is the beast. So, and we heard, we did a show on last Monday, we did China Week along with Shark Week. And it was wild that we started part two, and I always go to YouTube. That's our show, youtube.com/c/intheMatrixxx 3X's if you want to go over there and subscribe. And we did our show Monday, and we exposed the Lee family, L-I, Lee. And that's who took over the Rockefellers when Rockefeller died.
Really?
Yeah, Lee, L-I. Everything leads to Lee. And so we've got all of this. If you go back and put in China and Lee and figure out the bloodline families, it fits a lot of the Q posts. And we even the big accounts.
How did they take? You said they took over the Rockefeller or Rothschilds?
Rockefeller. Rothschilds
so they
have
took
a lot
over
of
the Rockefeller. Are the Rockefellers like non-existent now? Are they not mattering in this grand scheme of things anymore?
So you remember the bailout. Remember the Bush bailout?
Yeah.
$700 billion. That was supposed to take care of our mortgages. Which mortgage is muerte, and that's a death, and gage is a contract. It's actually a death contract, mortgage. That's what that word means. And they were supposed to buy off and save the mortgage industry. Instead, Hank Paulson, who used to be head of Goldman Sachs, went to China 150 times plus. He then went over to China and said, okay, we're going to figure this out. And he went and said, okay, this bank, PNC, you can buy this one. This bank, you can buy that one. They collapsed the bloodline families collapsed all of their assets, $700 billion at that time. It was probably a lot more. In 2008, and moved it to China. And if you look at 2008 and look at all those little graphs about China and how, those graphs that show you like, U.S. is leading, and all of a sudden 2008, boom, China. 2008 was the magic time for China.
Right.
And I think the virus, the China virus, wave 2, we stopped another $700 billion payment to them, whether that be by war or by something else.
After the virus?
Yeah, this right now, Trump being elected, we stopped wave 2, the second wave, which is the second wave
you're saying is not going to come.
Well, the second wave means the money that they were going to give to China.
Okay, I was thinking COVID wave.
So there was an IMF article saying that the global crisis could cause up to $800 billion. Now, does that number sound familiar? Bush, $800 billion. And remember, it was a 16-year plan. And by the way, Prescott Bush was the U.S. China Chamber of Commerce guy. So
Wasn't
this has been,
Prescott Bush? That's the grandfather of George Bush, correct?
yeah, correct.
And wasn't he also a Nazi? Well,
Skull and Bones. Well, he
Skull and
funded the
Bones.
Nazis with Harriman Brothers, yeah.
okay, so
So
I'm
the
right on
Harrimans
that.
are also
Okay.
tied in with the Lees. So remember the Long Beach port? That was a Q post, right?
Right.
Talking about you know who was given the Long Beach port by the Rockefellers? The Lee family, Costco, which was a Chinese intel spy operation.
Wow.
And that's
Incredible.
why we're pointing to that. So
But hold on, you're really racing forward in a lot of this, and like for my listeners,
there's a lot going on.
yeah,
I know.
there's tons, dude. So what I want to get at is,
Marco Blue says China. That's right.
yeah. So I want to ask this: is that Q? I thought Q started in the '60s with the first administration with JFK.
Yeah, that could very well be. You know, the POTUS, it says they say a prayer for JFK every day. I mean, let's look at what they wanted to do. They wanted to get rid of the secret societies. That was a speech, right? He wanted to dissolve the CIA. And believe it or not, so did Nixon, but he didn't have the Senate. If you go back and look at Nixon, go look at Wikipedia and read some of the things. And guess who was one of the lawyers there? Hillary Clinton. But we all think that he's a crook. Maybe he wasn't a crook. Very interesting to think. But we have the Senate now. So we have, that is why the Senate was the target, because they couldn't impeach our president. And they tried to do it with Mueller on a lie. Again, that was another way to postpone the inevitable. And remember, they were having these secret hearings down in the basement of the Capitol building. And Devin Nunes said they're in the Star Chamber entering all this information into their computers. Right? That's kind of like the Looking Glass stuff. They're trying to counter Looking Glass because they don't have.
Can you explain real quick to the people watching what is Looking Glass?
So so Looking Glass is it's probably ancient technology, and basically it's going into the future, planting an event to happen in the future, and then going back to here, making that actually happen. And it starts as a percentage, a probability, and as you get closer, either it happens or it doesn't with the probabilities, if that makes sense.
It kind of does, but you physically go there to plant an event in the future, or you?
I believe so, and I believe so, yeah. And so I don't know exactly, and I think that we're in for a great awakening, and it's going to challenge a lot of our belief systems, folks. It really is.
With the Looking Glass technology, do the white hats and the black hats have it?
The black hats don't have access to it anymore
because of their
Mayan
vibration.
calendar.
Am I correct on that? Like they can't access it?
The Mayan calendar, when that ended, and they also saw that the end wasn't for them.
So why are they still fighting if they know they're not even in the future? They've lost.
Because with this, it's a probability. They can change the probability. You see, let's say, for example, Hillary was arrested, right? And that is the probability that we want. And right now it could be at 80%, but then they fight back and it drops to 60%. And then we fight back and it's 80%. But when the closer you get to the target, the probability will be more probable, if you will. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining.
Okay, Hillary. So how do things?
Yeah, trying to change their fates. Somebody said there. That's exactly right.
Well, Hillary just. You're saying that what I just saw was Hillary just got off. Like, yeah. But you're saying no, Dave. There's a bigger picture here.
There is a bigger picture. So
explain that to everybody, because I was very upset when I found out she got off. I'm like, all right, here we go again.
Right.
Explain that to everybody. How is it a good thing that she got off?
So, we've got Huber and we've got Durham, okay? We just had one it was an indictment that was unsealed and he pled guilty. And that was Kevin Kleinsmith. That should be the death of the Democrat Party, because he just pled guilty to a huge crime, right?
Doesn't he plead guilty the 19th?
I think he already pled guilty.
Okay, but that's the first domino to just hit them all down, right?
And he's a Q post. He's KC, and KC is a marker because what's the 11th letter of the alphabet? K.
It's K, I guess.
I don't want to make it too much. A, B, C, D. So yeah, it's K. And what's the third letter?
Let's see.
Okay, you got that one.
I fucking got that one. You're fucking better home, I did.
This guy's a genius, I tell you. I love you, Dave. And so 11-3 is a marker. And so we've got this is the FBI 5 more spaces to fill. And these guys, remember, so let's go back to the Star Chamber when Adam Schiff was lying to the American people that there was Russian collusion. And everybody that was on their talking heads on TV were saying that there was Russia collusion. But this is why we have BLM going on right now. This is why we have COVID, a couple of reasons. But just before COVID and the riots happened, Adam Schiff released, and you guys can all go look at them, all of the documentation from their testimonies under oath. Their testimonies under oath said no collusion, nothing. There was nothing. But Adam Schiff can lie all he wants because he's got immunity. That's pretty sick, isn't it?
No, it's a disaster. I mean, what I'm trying to understand is, you know, I was about 70% on with Q. You know, obviously you just saw Dylan Wheeler. I was going to ask you about Dylan Wheeler.
Yeah, Dylan. So I'll just tell you. Dylan,
yeah, let's get your thoughts on that because I'm confused about him. Wait, hold on. He's a man. He can do what he wants. He can walk away if he wants. Like I said, I'm about 70 to 75% with Q. I leave the rest of that where, you know, I don't treat anything like a cult. But, you know, for him to completely walk away and then call Trump a Satanist, Mason, and I don't know if Trump's a Mason. I'm guessing he is. I don't know.
Well, he's a bloodline. I mean, let's be honest. He's a bloodline. You know, and so was JFK, but he went against his bloodline. And so did Abraham Lincoln. He went against his bloodline. Reagan was going against his too. So
tell me what's your thoughts on Dylan Wheeler?
So Dylan, I mean, he was cued and he just kind of rode the bandwagon. He was educating liberals, had a lot of great tweets, very beautiful tweets, had a huge following. But he kind of just rode the bandwagon, if you will. And, you know, he sold a lot of stuff and he did a lot of things. I think you remember Q said that all assets, I call them asshats are deployed. Maybe he was triggered. Maybe he just doesn't believe anymore. And that's his right. But what happened is he's got a lot of followers that, you know, are maybe going with him, but I doubt it because what this whole movement is about, and that's why Q isn't a cult. It's to train people and teach people to think for yourself and use your own discernment. And that's really the bottom line. That's why this can't be called a cult. Not a very good model to have.
But it's also to help inform people outside of the mainstream media, correct? Give them an alternate information.
Yeah. So the way I kind of explain Q is we're just Trump supporters on steroids. That's really all we are, right? We do a lot of research every day. Maybe you can't because you're working, right? And you're, you know, paying your bills and doing your thing, but you get to watch the Matrix Groove show at 1 p.m. on YouTube every day, or watch it when you get home, or even the podcast on intheMatrixxx3x's.com.
Well, you got Instagram now.
Or you go to Instagram, ITM4517 and subscribe or follow, right? And I'm here now. And so basically, you know, you just got to think for yourself. I mean, Dylan is entitled to his own, you know, opinions, but I think people see through it. I don't know if he was activated or triggered or threatened, but something definitely did happen. But I know for a fact that he was not per se a Q person. He was Q'd and rode the wave, but he was a Trump supporter, you know, so because that's all that, and it doesn't matter because it's Q. We keep wanting to put a face with Q, right? Q is not a person. It's the information. And once they start digging into the information of Q, they're done because we have it all and it's all open source.
I think what a lot of people want to ask on here is how does Q, I know they're working with quantum technology, correct?
I don't know. But
well,
I mean,
how are they able to predict things years in the future?
It could be quantum technology or it could be something different, David. You know, we don't know. So I'm researching on some things. You know, I did that Pesur research and I stumbled on another book that talks all about the Pesurs, and it's talking about something completely different than quantum. It's actually, you have to believe in God. That's why Q says biblical. And the atom, you know, our, how do I explain it? Because I'm not ready to bring the dig out, and I don't think a lot of people are ready to hear it, but we can actually go into different dimensions. It's an Einstein theory that was quickly snapped up by the Pentagon because we're not ready for it. And Q says sometimes we're not ready for it. And this is biblical.
But we've had that technology for a very long time, right?
Yes, yes.
I mean, Tesla was messing around with that.
This could be partial Tesla because it has to do with your atom is everything that we see and hear is from our thought mind, right? We generate everything. And that's why when we start seeing coincidences, we're making them happen. You and I are focusing on things to happen. Correct. You know, we forgot our power because it's been erased from us. And it is truly biblical. And I'll get into that theory some other time, but it is a great awakening, and there's something very specific to that. But it may not be quantum technology, and it may be I don't know. But what I'm reading here is it's more basically speeding up our atoms into another frequency or another dimension. And some people are in the next dimension, fourth and fifth, and some people aren't yet. And that's why people are at different levels of their awakening, if that makes sense.
I've heard from
why do you think the president says we're going to go to Mars in 10 years?
Right. Right.
Maybe we're already going to Mars. But how are we going to Mars? Is it the way that we think? Or is it going into a different dimension?
Right. I believe it's dimensional.
You know, with science that we don't know about yet. So this is just theory. This is just theory. And I know we're going fast. You know, I don't know how to explain that. There's some people.
No, I understand. Listen, you're way ahead of the curve on this, and that's why I bring down the questions for people, for my audience, because a lot of people are new to it. A lot of people here are very advanced. Let's jump into something else. Someone just asked something about Out of Shadows.
Sure.
How did you get involved with Mike Smith, Liz Crokin, and all them to put out that documentary and help promote the documentary? How did you get involved with that?
Wow, so that's an amazing story. Mike Smith was Crux, as you know, on Twitter, but he was also watching our show. And we would recognize people on our show. I try to shout out people like you do, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And he's like, hey, we want to talk to you. And I had a call with him. And it was like, oh, my God, you're a freaking stunt dude? And you're my fan? What? So we've actually talked on the phone for over a year and a half. And he did a lot of great research, you know, and maybe, you know, I might have helped him with some of his thought process. I don't know. But the guy put this together in a genius way. The way he threaded this production was amazing. It was a journey. And, you know, by using Kevin Shipp and then going into Liz Crokin and basically, you know, I guess he always loved my quote, the truth is learned, never told. And that is my quote. And I was so honored that he put that there. I'm not going to copyright it. It is free to use because it's true. The truth is learned, never told. That's why, you know, when you're talking to somebody, have them, quote unquote, Google it or DuckDuckGo it or however they want. Have them look it up themselves because that's the way you learn, not by me telling you, right? Don't take everything I say. Go look it up yourself, David. And you do that too now. I mean, you're taking some time and doing some digging too.
So yeah, what's the so that I mean that what was so funny about, not funny, coincidental or synchronicity that came with my video was Out of Shadows. I made that viral video right at the same time Out of Shadows came out, and the synchronicity was just perfect. I didn't know who Liz Crokin was. I didn't know who Mike Smith was, Brad, you, or anybody. I made that video and it hit at the exact time Out of Shadows came out, and then together it just made that explosion, that climax, boom.
Yeah. So Mike wanted to release that on 4/10/20. What's 4/10/20, guys? Right?
Yeah.
ABCD is 4, 10 is J, and T is 20. DJT. And Mike came out live for the first time on my show with Shady and me. He promised that to me, and we did. And we watched. We had him, Liz, on 4/9, so April 9th. And he actually revealed who he was on my show. These videos are so censored, guys, that, you know, they don't want you to know this. However, then Mike went on to Ann Vandersteel on the 10th and the Mick Files. And then we did a live premiere on my channel on 4/10/20. So then me, Liz, Brad, and Mike and Shady were all on Zoom watching the release. We're watching it go to 50,000, 100,000. It did 1 million views overnight.
That's insane.
And on Easter Sunday, 4 seconds into Easter Sunday, Q dropped documentary of the year.
Is Q dropped what?
Documentary of the year.
Wow.
On Easter Sunday, 4 seconds in. And if you go look at a Q post of 0.000 or 004, it says, "We aim for 000. We try." So basically, they tried to get that on Easter Sunday at 0.00000.
Amazing.
So so right now it's 28 different languages. My webmaster John, he's amazing at intheMatrixxx with 3x's.com. Basically said, wow, he did a proxy search with Out of Shadows in different languages, and 2 weeks after Out of Shadows, we were looking at about 20 million views worldwide. I'm guessing now we're over 100 million worldwide.
That's amazing. But they keep taking it down off YouTube. I mean, it keeps getting removed, correct?
No, it's still there. Go to outofshadows.org. Outofshadows.org is where it is. You just have to be 18 now. There is no money being made from it. In fact, if Mike would have sold it, you never would see it. It'd be canned in Hollywood. And by the way,
there's some movies that need that exposure that are coming out, like Sound of Freedom, and then also Infidel, that are coming out that they need good exposure. And also, what do you think about? Have you heard of a Trump card by D'Souza or Dinesh? Yeah. What do you think about? Have you seen that? I haven't,
but I have an idea what the Trump card is.
You want to go into that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because he's working for the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took down a crime family. Donald J. Trump. He took down a crime family in New Jersey. He's the only celebrity talking against Epstein. And, you see all the shills saying, hey, look at Donald Trump's with Epstein. Well, why do you think that is?
That's interesting.
Maybe he's building a case on him, guys. That's what I think the Trump card is.
And what do you think the October surprise will be?
So October, what happened on October 1st? The October surprise is when China came over here to ring the bell and stuff. It's also Marxism, right? It's Bolshevik Day. I think the October surprise is there is going to be no October surprise. No more rig for red.
And what are your thoughts? Let me ask you this, because I've been wanting to ask you this, man. Like, with everything that's going on.
No, Trump is good. Somebody's saying Trump is amazing. In fact, if he screws up, I'm calling him out, just so you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, everyone will. We all will. Yeah. Absolutely. What do you think of Flynn, dude? Like, what's up with Flynn? Like, where do you think this is going to go? That's the same day Hillary was supposed to, testify, correct?
And by the way, it was the same day that they announced Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right. So he's going to be fine. It's painful though.
You think that's it? You think this is?
He's going to be either pardoned or it's done. Yeah, but it's going to. There's a reason why they don't want him out, right? They don't want him out because he knows everything. He knows the deals with China and the technology they've sold. He knows about the radical Islamicism. He knows that they're trying to do that here. He knows everything. He knows that they funded ISIS. He knows that Hillary Clinton is a criminal. Remember go back and watch his speech at the Republican convention in 2016. Lock her up. Lock her up. Yeah, lock her up. If I did 1/10 of what she did, I'd be in prison. So they nailed him. They forced him so he used.
When you say they, you're talking about Obama, really.
Obama.
Right?
And Biden
Obama
directly.
Because Obama was busy spying on Trump, and he knew that Flynn held the keys to getting his ass locked up as well, correct?
Right, and we got the list of the people that unmasked Flynn. We got the list, and Biden is one of them. So what they did is they set him up with Covington. Covington is a Eric Holder law firm, and Covington said, "Okay, General Flynn, why don't you go ahead and just plead guilty? Because you don't want your son to get dragged into this, do you?" So they threatened him with his son, and he said, "Okay, I'll just plead guilty because I trust you guys, because I am a trusting man, and I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, and you guys are my lawyers." But they set him up. They set him up because he knows where the bodies are buried, David. He is going to come back out fighting and strong, And Joe,
So let me ask you this real quick. Is there
he's
any
going
way
to
they're
appear on my show, by the way, guaranteed.
oh yeah, you're gonna have Flynn on your show?
Yep.
All right, so everybody heard it here first.
Well, Joe Flynn promised after all this is done, he's coming on. Joe Flynn came on my show.
Yeah.
Remember him? I surprised Mike Smith with Joe Flynn.
Man, I would like to. Are you gonna let me come on the show when you have Mike?
With you? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, of course, man.
Damn, dude.
You're my boy. I love you, David. You're an amazing man, and we've talked a lot, and you're a special kind of person, and
Thanks,
I have a lot of respect for you, man.
And back to you as well, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask something. What's the significance of the number 17? Is it because it's the letter Q, or?
Well, it is Q, right? And it's also looks like a upside down backwards Lee, doesn't it?
Upside down backwards what?
Lee, L-I, the bloodline of China.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's if you really look into it. I mean,
yeah. I mean, so right now, this is really, and we've got to take our blinders off to China, folks. And I did China Week 1, 2, and 3. And by the way, China Week 2, I was actually censored by Youku, which is a Chinese YouTube. They censored my video.
And it's called Youku?
Youku. And Bain Capital's involved with it. And also the CEO of Youku China worked at Bain Capital. These people, all roads lead to China. In fact, let's look at Mark Zuckerberg. Remember, Q asked us about follow the wives. Let's look at, her name is Chan, C-H-A-N, or C-H, yeah, Chang is normal over there, but she dropped the G. Just like, who's that gentleman that was Chen, the fighter guy, the movie guy?
Jet Li?
Yeah, Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan. Yeah.
So she's a Chan. But a Chang normally. His name is Benjamin Chang, but he dropped the G. So she's also a Chang, which is very high up in the bloodlines of China. They're giving up 99% of their earnings from Facebook. If you look at her Chan, the Zuckerberg organization, but Alphabet never left China. Okay, Alphabet is still in China, and they're doing Baidu. And Baidu is the old dragonfly that Q was pointing us to. And so they're giving up all that, and they're selling us out. They're even putting new cables underneath the ocean to go to China, as is Facebook. Facebook just got busted in Oregon, leaving a drill there. So they're trying to set up a shadow network once we get them out. Once we kick China out of our country, and guys, it's imperative that you get out and vote, because it's China or America first. Which do you want? And it's very important that we get our family, our friends, you get out and vote. A
lot of people just don't understand this, dude. They don't understand the urgency in this.
So let's look at this Lee family, and this goes along with the bloodlines with the Payseurs. So the Lee family, L-I, is Li Keqiang. That guy is a communist, and he's a bloodline, and he runs Hong Kong. 92% of your drugs are produced where? In Hong Kong. We need our drugs back here. There's a lot of people with a lot of money that are not happy with what I'm doing. Remember Trump saying that?
Yeah, you may not see me for a while.
You may not see me for a while. And the Li is the communist, and Z, there's actually a power grab between Li and Z right now. And Z is actually a nationalist. He's actually Donald Trump's friend. He actually is communist, but he wants to be sovereign, okay? He doesn't want to take over the world like the Lee family. So the Lee family, let's look at Bill Gates, right? So the Lee family is into genetics and all these other technologies that we're seeing with vaccines. And this is a very common thing with the satanic hierarchy. And the Bill and Melinda Gates of Hell Foundation, go Google it right now. Who is the chairman of the board or the leader of the Bill and Gates of Hell Foundation in China? I bet her last name is Lee, L-I. And so Google Merck, M-E-R-C-K, and Lee. Google Bristol Myers Squibb and Lee. Google Federal Reserve and Lee. You're going to find that they are infiltrated in here so big and so bad. I mean, Jack Ma is related to a Lee. There's a Yale in China called Ya Li. And Mao was a skull and bone. Kerry was a skull and bone. Bush was a skull and bone. Don't look at China. Look at Russia. You see how we've been mind controlled not to look. So when I started looking into the pharmaceutical companies, I found Lee, and it's in the bloodlines of the Illuminati on the CIA website. You can go Google bloodlines, Illuminati, CIA, and you can download a 292-page document.
Trump has what's Trump's bloodline?
He's a Stewart, from what we can gather, from his mother's side.
So aren't these? I mean, you could say that all these bloodlines are crooked to a degree. I mean, wasn't his grandfather in Skull and Bones Trump's?
I don't know that for a fact.
Okay, I'm just I'm playing devil's advocate here. I don't know.
No.
I mean,
but look at the Kennedy family. Look at Teddy Kennedy. Look at John F. Kennedy. In fact, John F.
Bones, right?
Well, no, just bad. Teddy Kennedy is bad, dude, right?
Yeah.
Ted Kennedy, but John F. Kennedy wasn't. He wasn't actually favored by the Americans at first, right? However, he started going, "Whoa, what do you guys want me to do? You want me to shoot down a passenger plane from Cuba? I don't want to do that." And I think he started seeing it, and he then started calling out the secret societies.
So he grew a conscience,
right? So he became aware, and he wanted to stop it because he saw what was happening. He wanted to destroy the CIA.
Well,
and
the thing
CIA.
Well, from what I understand with Q was Trump was handpicked. Am I right in saying that he was handpicked years ago to run for president? Certain generals and military personnel picked Trump to run, correct?
I think so, yeah.
That's what I've heard.
I think so, yeah. And believe me, it's not just Orange Man doing this, guys.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of intel behind it.
Yeah.
What's the rumors about Zionists being behind Trump?
Well, I mean, so it just was released. Let's go look at it. I didn't dig in it, but 99 billionaires back Trump and 131 back Biden. I guarantee you the 131 are Chinese, lovers, if you will. Yeah. And like Mike Lindahl, My Pillow, is made in America. So let's just, it's China or America. They have
that's the war right now. That's what we're saying. This is basically, Jeff, what you're saying right now. This is the war is for your mind, for our consciousness, and it's between China. Who's gonna take over this global reset? Either China or America. Am I correct in saying that?
Correct. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and we got Confucius schools all over the U.S. In fact, Michelle Obama went down there. I've got a video on my Twitter, and maybe even here. I don't know if I put it on Instagram, but Instagram ITM4517. If you guys want to follow, I appreciate it. David, thank you for this opportunity.
I love you, man. But
she went up and set up the Confucius schools. There's 15,000 Chicago kids 5 years ago learning Chinese. And remember when Q says, learn to speak Russian? Well, I got a video here that he says, learn to speak Chinese just last Tuesday. Learn to speak Chinese if Biden or anybody else wins. It's crazy.
So this really is a war for the New World Order. After this election, who's going to control the New World Order? Either America or China.
Pretty much.
That's what it really comes down to.
We're winning. I mean, we already built this economy to the #1 economy before COVID, right? And so you look at what our president has done. Let's look at what he's done. There's a Q post that says, Saudi Arabia, $4 trillion. Then there's a post that says, right underneath it, Rothschild, it's the same post, Rothschild, $2 trillion. Well, let's look at the first bailout that we just had. It was $6.2 trillion that went from the Federal Reserve into your treasury, folks. Your treasury. The treasury. When was the treasury actually founded? After the Revolutionary War, to get away from Britain. So now we've got treasury money, 6.2 trillion. Then we had a second PPE or whatever they're calling it, and that was 484 billion, if I recall correctly. Soros was 1 trillion. 17 days before Q posted, Soros got rid of 80% of his wealth. So right now he's probably built back up to $484 trillion. That went from the Federal Reserve into the Treasury. Okay. Now, what do we see?
That's because that's Trump.
That's Trump's doing.
Trump made that happen. So he's But didn't he also?
He's now the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Yes.
Right, but didn't he also absorb he absorbed the Federal Reserve into the Treasury, correct? That's
restructured. So we didn't absorb it. So the Federal Reserve is still buying up all their assets because they're going bankrupt. They're no longer lending. You notice that? Remember when the talking heads exploded because Trump was going to sign the checks? Remember that?
Right.
Because it's coming from the Treasury, guys. That's your bank. Now, let's go a little one further. Remember all those ventilators? Remember? Did we need all those ventilators, David?
No.
So GE is a payseur, United States of America and Body Politic Trust. How do you build a bridge without taking it down? So we gave GE, first they said, no, we don't want to do it. We said, oh, you got to do it, Trump says, because mess with the best, die like the rest, right? And he used his P powers, right? And so we bought all these ventilators that we didn't need, and they took a loan from the Federal Reserve, and it's payable into the Treasury. Now, people are freaking on the vaccines. I'm an anti-vaxxer. I don't want nothing in my body, okay? And so what I think is happening is you hear how the president keeps saying, oh, and we're going to get a vaccine and other avenues, other ways of curing the disease. You cannot make a vaccine mandatory if there's other cures. You see what I'm saying?
Like hydroxychloroquine.
Exactly right. So you can't make it. So what's going to happen is he's going to buy all of these vaccines to get the vaccine companies, give them a loan out of the Federal Reserve, and make it payable into the Treasury.
Okay, so what is the deal with him
out of that trust into our trust?
Okay, so there's confusion here. Wasn't he helping? He pulled out of the World Health Organization, correct? He defunded it, and then he put money into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, didn't he?
Don't know. Maybe.
Okay,
Remember, so I don't know about that. I just know that vaccines are going to be bought, and they're actually being shipped to the Army, from what I said, and the Army can't give us vaccines, just so you know.
Okay, and Trump has always pushed that it's voluntary.
Right.
He's never said mandatory.
And nothing's been approved yet. So what if it doesn't get approved? We've got to, first of all, I'm an anti-vaxxer, but I think it doesn't matter if it's going to, what he's doing is he's buying all these ventilators that we didn't need, giving them a loan to make these ventilators so GE Healthcare can come back to America.
That's brilliant.
Out of the trust that we don't own, okay, into the Treasury trust that you own and I own. We're restructuring the Federal Reserve. Now, if you look at that, remember, let's look at TikTok, right? Remember the big TikTok issue, guys?
Yep.
Do you remember what our president said about that? It's about a lease and tenant. I don't want TikTok 30% only. I want 100%, and you've got to pay the Treasury key money in order to do the deal. That's what the Federal Reserve used to do, okay? You'd pay them key money to get the deal, but they didn't care if you were China or not because they were for China, right? They sold us out, dude. America was for sale. So what he's doing is he wants 100% ownership American and key money into the Treasury. That's your bank and my bank. Now, why is this important? Why is China retaliating? Because we put on tariffs. They don't like that, David. Right. Tariffs are what built our country. Why do you think we don't have payroll tax coming up? We don't have to pay. We're not going to have to because tariffs are going to do it. And I don't think people see what's actually happening yet, but it's happening. And also, remember that bill, the crimes against humanity and corruption. Do you remember that, David?
That's what he's going to use on China, correct?
12/21/17. Well, go to the Treasury right now. It's already being used on China.
Okay.
It's already being used. And those assets that are seized go into your bank, my bank.
Look, Jeff, what all this tells me is that with all this going on, if Trump wins the election, we're going to fucking war.
Yeah, he's not going to lose, guys.
No. If he wins the election. If he wins the election, the last grab for China would go to war with us, correct?
Did you hear the threat from Michelle Obama?
Oh, to vote like your lives depend on it?
Yeah, well, their lives do depend on it. And also, she said, in order to stop the chaos, and it can get worse, and it will, if they don't get their way. There's going to be some other retaliation, but if there is a civil war here, it will be quelled quickly because look at where the National Guard is. They're everywhere. So just very interesting stuff, guys. And I think there's going to be an election. Yes. I hate you. Hey, how are you doing? Exactly. Yeah, Michelle.
Hey, Jeff, let me ask you this, man.
Sure.
So we got limited, since you've never done a live before, we got a limited time, so it'll start counting down when we got like 3 minutes left. But we're still good. We're still good. But I was going to ask you, let's talk about the evidence that you believe JFK is alive. You believe there's enough compiled evidence to show that he's alive?
Right. So this is a very divisive topic too. Do I want JFK Jr. to be alive? Yes. Do I think that there is, how do I explain this? Anomalies, right? In the investigation, like the plane was different. There's all these other things that were like weird, right? And 17 people were at his funeral and all of this other stuff. So what I say is it's plausible that he's alive. But right now I can't prove, like I can't say, hey, JFK, how you doing? Right now. I know some people think it's Vincent Fusca, but that guy's about a foot shorter. So that couldn't be.
Okay, yeah.
But I've considered it, right? Because it's very divisive. Do I? Absolutely. But Q did say, Anon asked, is JFK Jr. alive? Q said no. Now, that's when people say, well, disinfo is necessary. Okay, but I can't pick and choose which post is disinfo or not. However, what I can say is that it's plausible that he's alive from my research, but I can't prove it. Once I can, I'll be the first one to eat my hat or whatever. But I'm not an anti-JFKer, right? But it's funny how the mainstream media attacks us and saying, QAnon thinks JFK Jr. is alive. Well, maybe he is, but we don't have the exact proof yet, but it's plausible. And that's kind of how I explain it.
Yeah, and that's how they're going to make you sound quacky.
Right.
And like a conspiracy.
And I don't care.
Like, they believe JFK's behind Q, manipulating and controlling everything. So people
David, with the thing that I was the theory that I was kind of trying to explain earlier, but I'm not ready to totally release it. Everybody's alive. We just go into a different dimension.
Oh, 100%. I believe that too.
So there is some, we don't know. Our whole history has been hidden or occulted. And we don't know. And it's being changed right in front of us. I mean, the Democrats are taking down Democrat statues.
Yeah.
The Democrats' heads are exploding because today, I mean, who did we get pardoned today? She was a Republican, Susan B. Anthony.
Yeah.
And the Democrats wanted to stop her from voting. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why their heads are exploding. They want to erase history. And Trump just brought it back. So you guys can all go look into Susan B. Anthony. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do is erase history. They're using the BLM and Antifa, like the brown shirts in Nazi Germany with the book burning and that mess. So that they're doing the same
they're burning
thing.
the Bible, dude.
Yeah, they're burning the Bible.
And a lot of the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, they actually trained with ISIS.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it's that bad. And remember, Obama says, we need an army. We need an army. They've said it. So it's not a conspiracy. It's true. And we're seeing it today.
Jeff, let me ask you this, because I got so many questions going. So do you think before the election, with all the Q posts you've seen, with everything you've seen and deciphered and worked out on your own, do you think we're going to start seeing the takedowns before the election, or will it only happen after the election?
Well, right now, Biden is your firewall. He's running for re-election. We've seen the Nabu leaks. I don't know if people have seen the Nabu leaks and heard the phone calls with Joe Biden totally saying, I'm quid pro quoing. I mean, it's all there. But Hannity hasn't talked about it. No, we've talked about it, but nobody else has. And I think that there's a reason for this. We've got Kevin Kleinsmith right now, bottom to top, okay? This is not just another 4-year election, right? Is it the virus or is it the election? They're all just trying to win, and they're not gonna, because you are all here right now. We got 1,000 people here. We're all gonna vote, boom, and gonna get our family to vote. We're gonna win this thing. But what's happening is this is all tied. So China, Ukraine, the Spygate, Hillary not testifying on purpose, because if she testified, she's under a grand jury indictment right now. And Huber and Durham she can't, These judges aren't stupid. She can't testify, guys. It's not a win for her. It's a win for us. If she was winning, she'd go in there with those deep state judges and be scot-free again, guys. This is real. And what's happening now, Biden, because he's running for re-election, they want him to lose on the own merits and all that other stuff. But once he's done, because he looked into Flynn, he is the quid pro quo in Ukraine and China, 1.5 billion. He's kind of like the keystone of this whole thing. That's why they're running him for president. Let's just think. Let's take what we know about Joe Biden now. Let's just pretend like, you know, he's my grandpa, right? He's not, and I can't stand the guy. But let's just say, would you allow your family member acting like that to run for president? Seriously.
No.
Like if that was your grandfather.
He's a senile, crazy ass. I mean,
yeah, I'd say, Grandpa, you're nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Sit down. You know, right. So there's a reason why he's there. And there's a reason why Kamala's there, because she's an attacker. She's also...
She's going to be used as the attack dog.
Exactly. Yeah.
The mouthpiece.
Exactly right. Yeah. And he doesn't even know what day it is, dude.
No,
it's sad.
What's going on, dude?
And most people that I know that are Democrats see that too. They also see all the Democrat cities still in upheaval. But you got to remember, these Democrat cities are promised from China that they'll get rebuilt from the governor. And so the governors have a whole governor's board where China does business with the governors. I mean, this is not just federal level. This is down to our local level, guys. I mean, I got a bridge here in Stuart, Florida, falling apart from Chinese steel that was built 10 years ago or 8 years ago. It's crazy, guys. We've got to get our country back. And that is what I think our president is doing.
So there's some people on here asking you to talk a little bit about Australia. I don't know what the I guess there's a...
So Australia tonight, the guy said that you guys are going to have mandatory vaccines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah. So let's think about this logically as well. China, well, first of all, the Lee family trust is in Australia. That's really beautiful, isn't it? So you guys are all paid off by China. But if we cut the strings here, you will be free too. It is where we go one, we go all worldwide.
When are they enforcing the mandatory vaccines?
Well, first of all, let's remember the vaccine hasn't
Right.
By the way, it's AstraZeneca too, and AstraZeneca is a big Chinese company, guys. So they're just trying to. So we don't know if this vaccines, they haven't been approved yet, guys. So stay tuned.
But
also,
they will be.
Maybe we don't know.
Well,
maybe
we know they had okay. I'm positive they had the problem, reaction, solution, what David Icke talks about. They had the vaccine before they had the virus. Come on. We know this is all the plan. This is the plan.
That could very well be. I'm with you. I mean, they could, and they may. Well, it's always been there. It's been hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
And I think they've reverse engineered, and Shady too. I wish he was here with me. Shady Groove. He thinks this too. He's like, basically, all of these diseases were reverse engineered out of hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine is actually biblical. It's called Jesuit powder. They've had this cure for years. Rheumatoid arthritis, cancer, so many other things. They perpetrated AIDS on us. And if you do deep research, that AIDS came from China, right? So we've got to understand that we have the cures. We have them. You know, because
it's just about getting it released.
That's right. And they feed us crap for dinner. They feed us crap in our water. They've blocked our minds from the Great Awakening.
Pineal gland. They've calcified our pineal gland. All the fluoride in the water. They're poisoning us daily.
That's right. My daughter.
Well,
go ahead.
We got 1 minute.
Oh,
1 minute. It's counting down. It's counting down. So
I feel like this interview went all over the place, David.
Yeah. No. That's what I like though. It's the ADD hour with Dave. So
don't fall for his spinning, David. I'm spinning.
Hey man,
whatever that means.
Yeah, we're counting down. Tell everyone where they can reach you, your show, everything. You got 40 seconds.
ITM 4517 right here. I joined you guys here on Instagram, intheMatrixx with 3x's.com, intheMatrixx.live. You can see all of our platforms also at intheMatrixx with 3x's.com. Check us out. Twitter, 190 some odd thousand followers at intheMatrixx with 3x's. And wow.
3 X's and 3 O's, right? Matrix Groove Show.
Yeah.
That's
Matrix
your
and
YouTube channel, right?
That's right. That's a lot of X's and O's. Much
Three
love,
X's,
everybody.
three O's, Matrix Groove Show. And listen, Jeff, thanks for being on here. Let's do a round 2. You want to?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to post this on my Instagram. It's going to be saved on there if you want to share it or whatever.